3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the PageantCast.com. We're about to have a live show. If you want to participate, make sure to log in on our social stream and our chat room. We might be able to see some of them. Of course, when you do a live show, we got to keep the stream live, so that's always of the utmost importance. But if you have a great question out there, we just might use it on today's program. So if you put something out on our chat, it is fair game for us to use on today's show. Hope you enjoy the PageantCast. Of course, check us out on our YouTube page, where this show will go after we're complete with the program today. Of course, we got lots of great stuff that we want you to check out at PageantCast.com. So check it all out, PageantCast.com, or go to our YouTube channel. Hope to see you all there. And now it's just about time for our live show.
Yeah, that's awkward.
Welcome to the PageantCast, your home for beauty pageant news and interviews on the internet.
Hey everybody, we're live, at least we thought we were. I am still checking for the stream to open up. Usually there's only a 30-second delay, and it is having a big delay, and we're not going to start things off until I'm sure the stream is going out. This is really bizarre, everybody. Oh, here we go. Now it's starting to show up. There we go. That is the longest latency we have ever had on this show. Wow. I got it all the way through the whole opening part. Don't worry, this won't be in the final episode. This is just live tonight. What we do tonight is we're going to shoot 2 episodes back to back, and that's the video you're watching now, the live show. And this live show will be out there a while until I edit together the final episodes, and then they'll go out on YouTube. And, of course, our award-winning website, PageantCast.com. So glad you could all join us tonight. It's an exciting evening here at the PageantCast. So, what do we have on tap? We have the wonderful Shana Smith. She's Mrs. Tennessee International, and we're going to be going live with her in just a moment. But I want to remind everybody that's watching YouTube tonight, let's see if I do this right. I want to point this way. If you look over there, that's where the live chat is. And if you're logged in, you should be able to contact us via the live chat. And we are monitoring it. It does seem like there's more lag than we're used to. But when we ask for chat room questions, that's the place you'll need to go. If we don't get enough questions, don't worry, I got lots of questions, so you won't have to worry about that at all. But once again, you're going to want to go to the live chat right over there and type in your questions if you'd like to be a part of tonight's program. Okay, we're going to get things started with our first live interview in 5, 4. This is Tim Crutchman, and you're watching the PageantCast. We're so pleased that you could join us. We've got a great show lined up for you tonight, because tonight on the show, we have Shana Smith. She's Mrs. Tennessee International 2017. Hello, Shana!
Hello! Thank you so much for having me.
It's so exciting to get you on the show. Been working on that for a while, actually. We've been friends on Facebook a good long time. So I'm glad to finally get to meet you and talk a little bit.
Yes, I have been watching your show for a long time, so this is really exciting.
Well, I am quite elderly. It's been out there for a long time. So tell me, where are we calling you? Through the Skype lines, where are we calling you tonight?
I am in Thompson Station, Tennessee. We're about 40 minutes south of Nashville.
Thank you for that, because I really don't know my Tennessee my Tennessee geography that well. So, okay, near Nashville, about 40 minutes. That's a nice, you can still go to the city, see all the great sights, but you're far enough out that you're not dealing with traffic all the time, right?
Yes, we can go in the city whenever we want, but the town we live in has one stoplight and a whole lot of farms. So
I'm in kind of a similar situation with Milwaukee. Not quite as much live entertainment as Nashville might have, but it's a nice city nonetheless. So tell me a little bit, what got you started in pageants in the first place?
My mom was really wanting that girly girl, and so when I was in elementary school, she said, let's do this. And I hated it in the beginning because I wanted to go out and ride bikes with the boys and skin my knees. And that was just not pageant girl. So I competed through high school and kind of was over it, I guess, when I graduated, and ran into a wonderful gentleman in the international system and kind of fell in love with it. And here I am.
Fantastic. Oh, I did it again. I used the word fantastic far too much. I'm told that all the time. So now that got you started, but what are some of your, and we use the term pageantcedents. What are some of the past pageants that you've been a part of?
I was Mrs. California International 2013. And before that, I hadn't actually won anything. I competed in my hometown local pageants and a few small ones in California, but Mrs. California National was my first big title.
And that's a great title. Now, who was the director at the time? Was it Eddie?
It was not. I actually won the year between Eddie and Eddie.
Okay,
So, Gail Tate was my director.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I knew that happened somewhere in that time. Okay, so yeah. Now what publications and websites do you use to keep up with pageants?
I am huge with Facebook and Instagram because I like pictures, but I follow the Pageant Planet. I followed you, like I said, since probably right after you started, to be honest. And I love watching what other women are doing and seeing how they're making an impact. So I think it's really inspiring to watch in that regard.
That's what we're trying to do over here. Sometimes we succeed. And, of course, our good friends over at the Pageant Plan, Stephen Roddy's doing an incredible job with his site. So much entertainment and educational resources at the Pageant Planet. So let's get into it. You're at the international pageants. What is your favorite phase of competition in international?
I honestly love the interview competition because I like being able to talk. And I like to talk a lot, so it works really well. And I think it's the best way to be able to get to know somebody. But I would have to say second to that really closely would be evening gown. Because I love that moment when your husband sees your gown for the first time and just that look on his face, which is a mixture of, oh my goodness, I love you so much, and holy cow, how much did that gown cost?
Well, I had a feeling interview was going to be in there because when it comes to international pageants, it seems like interview is a strong motivating factor for getting involved in the international pageants. As you know, there's a lot of pageants out there, and one of the things that international really pushes is the interview. Now, it's round robin. Have you done any pageants where it's panel style, and which style do you prefer?
I have. I actually competed in a pageant several years ago that was a panel style, and I really like the round robin better because I don't want to say if you blow it, but if you feel like you're not having necessarily your best interview, you have several more judges to go to versus when you're on that panel and you feel like you're having a bad interview, it's really hard to come back from that.
Yeah, you get a chance to reboot, don't you? That's what's really nice about it. Okay, we're getting to one of everybody's absolute favorite things here on the PageantCast. It's time to go back to grammar school. It's time for show and tell. So, Shana, what did you bring for show and tell?
I have an obsession which is kind of my little secret thing. But I have an obsession with skeleton keys. And the reason is my grandmother gave me one when I was like 3.
Okay.
And I think I spent the next 6 years trying to figure out what it went to, only to find out that it went to nothing. But I still have it. So I have this skeleton key that I've had for a really long time. I'm not going to put my age out on the internet right now.
Okay.
But I've had this for a very long time. But what's really funny about it is when we adopted our son last year, he gave me my first gift the day he met me. And it's stuck on my keychain, but it's his obsession. Oh, which one do I go
Wow, look at that.
So it's the funniest thing that we have this mutual obsession of skeleton keys. But we have them all over the house, but yet none of them work.
Okay, so nothing to a lock, just the keys. Okay, and skeleton key, when I was growing up, I always thought skeleton key meant it opened anything. But it's actually the style of key, isn't it?
Correct. That's what I thought. When growing up, I always thought that a skeleton key opened every lock in the house.
Right.
Only to find this. I think back maybe when they started, they opened up everything because that was easier.
Okay.
But it was kind of a let.
I always thought they must be magic. You know, that they could open anything. I would wave them in front of, walls and see if something would open up. Never worked.
I wanted to get into my parents' secret stash of candy, so I thought it would work on that. It didn't.
Oh man, that's harsh. That's tough. Now, something you said leads us into this next question. Let's talk a little bit about your platform. Tell us what your platform is, Shana.
My platform is foster care and adoption awareness, which is super close to my heart and my family. We have a significant amount of adoption in our family. My grandmother was adopted out of a newspaper article. Both of my children were adopted out of foster care. So for the last 11 years, I've been doing a lot of work with foster care and orphan care, both in our country and internationally, to try to grow kind of that foster care system to provide more stability for kids.
Fantastic. Now, you have mentioned you've adopted?
I have. Both of my children are adopted out of foster care. I was a single parent foster home in California when I took custody of my daughter, and we adopted her in 2008. And we're still foster parents now, 11 years later. We adopted our son out of foster care just last July.
Okay. Now, the adoption process, I heard, is incredibly difficult. Is that true, or what's the situation?
It really depends on what kind of adoption you're doing. Out of foster care, it can be very difficult because you're dealing with multiple entities. You're dealing with the state, you're dealing with the social services department, and a lot of different rights. If you go through the international system, the domestic private adoption.
No, not the pageant adoption. The adoption itself.
Private adoption.
Okay.
It's very costly, and it can take years.
Okay.
So it really just depends which way you go. But it's not an easy thing to do on your heart either way.
Okay. So what kept you going? Because I know I have some friends that have gone through this, and it just seems like it goes on and on and on. What is it that drives you?
The kids. My daughter's adoption took 2.5 years. So we went through court hearings and birth parent rights and having the state in our home every few weeks for 2.5 years. But when you look down at these little faces that just want a mom and a dad in a home, it just drives you to keep going through it all.
That's great. That's great. All right. Tell me a little bit about what some of your appearances have been this year as Tennessee International.
I was crowned Mrs. Tennessee almost 2 months ago. So I have done several 5Ks with the Walk Me Home organization, which raises awareness for foster care. I've done 2 fundraisers for the America's Kids Belong organization. I went out to California and met with Together We Rise, who does fundraisers for duffel bags for children in care. And I'm actually headed to Nicaragua in about 7 days to the orphanages there and work with some of the children.
And as we record this, it's at the end of May, and the episodes will come out when they do. Of course, the live show's going out live. But you are really close to time for internationals.
Yes, we have, I think, 3 months. Mrs. International is August 12th and 13th. So we're here in the end of May. So we're really close.
And where is it being held this year?
This year it's in Charleston, West Virginia.
Charleston, West Virginia. And I think this is the first year in Charleston, if I remember correctly. So that's going to be exciting and new. And I know the Richardsons have a lot of contacts in that area, so it's going to be a fantastic time. I know that. A lot of great activities that they have lined up for you. Okay, we're getting to the end of our first episode here, and it's time for me to see your best pageant wave. We like to see a great pageant wave for folks to go out on. So I want to see your best pageant wave. Lay it on me. You're on the back of the, okay, and doing both sides. All right. Okay. Nice. A very dignified wave there. Fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been great having you on the program, Shana. And what we like to say at the end of the show is Tiara Dreams. So Tiara Dreams, Shana.
Tiara Dreams, Tim.
Here's my wave. Okay. That is the close of show 1, everybody. I am looking in the chat room. We're not getting a whole lot of activity there, so we're probably not going to do questions from the chat room, which means you get to play America's favorite game show, the Fantastic Favorite 5, Shana. Are you ready for that?
Ready, Tim.
Yeah, nobody is ready for that. I have come up with new rules because I've lost too often in the past, so it is now going to be me cheating horribly throughout the show. So that's coming up right here. Everybody, here we go in Hi, everybody. Tim Crutchman from the PageantCast, and we're so excited. We got a special guest in the other Skype room with us. Shana Smith, Mrs. Tennessee International, is there. How you doing, Shana?
I'm great, Tim. How are you?
I'm great. Are you excited for what's about to happen to you?
I'm nervous and excited.
You should be very nervous. It's incredibly difficult because we're about to go to the Fantastic Favorite 5. America's least favorite game show. Here we go. It's terrible. Here we go. This is just a ridiculous setup. Okay, the Fantastic Favorite 5. Here's what it goes. There's only a few rules. I've condensed a 500-page manual to these. This contest is set up so that I win. That's the most important thing to remember. Any attempt to thwart that effort is going to be against the rules. So answering correctly, probably against the rules. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you your favorite thing in 5 categories. These categories have been selected to give me a distinct advantage. Deal with it. I'm then going to ask you a trivia question about your favorite thing that you just stated on the fly. If you don't answer quickly enough, you're going to lose the point. If you can't answer the question, you're going to lose a point. Keep in mind, I don't have to answer the question. I just have to ask it. So I don't absolutely even need to know what the answer is, but I will be deciding if you answer correctly or incorrectly. And the final rule, of course, is that I'm going to win. Be prepared for the stinging loss. Are you ready for all of this nonsense?
I am ready, Tim.
Hey, you're really not. Okay, here we go. We're going to start with, this is the stupidest game I've ever come up with. It's so awesome. So we're going to start with your favorite horror movie. Let's hear your favorite horror movie, something I'm an expert in. So let's go. What's your favorite horror movie?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, she answered quickly enough, so I do have to come up with a trivia question. Nightmare on Elm Street, very simple question coming. Who played Freddy Krueger?
The really creepy guy that looks just like him without the makeup?
I'm afraid that's completely incorrect and actually a little bit embarrassing. That would be Robert Englund. He's actually a British actor, even though he doesn't sound very British in the role. And his face, actually, that is prosthetics. He isn't quite that ugly. All right, so next is going to be, you're going to notice I love movies. What's your favorite movie genre? What is your favorite movie genre? I'm sorry you answered too late. That's my point. So that's I have 2-0. I am doing quite well. You really have to dig out of a well to make it this time. I am so sorry. It looks like you just didn't answer quickly enough. So you really need to get in there because it goes very quickly. What's your favorite TV show? We'll see if she can answer this. I slipped it in there. We'll see if she remembered. Favorite?
Law and Order SVU.
Law and Order SVU. Okay, I have a comfortable lead. I think I'm going to go with an easy question. I'm going to say, what does SVU stand for?
Special Victims Unit.
I'm sorry, it stands for a type of vehicle that people drive and they put their children in the back with soccer balls. This you should know this. You have children. I'd be ashamed if I were you. This is now 3-0. It's mathematically impossible for you to win. I really don't care. I'm really happy about this. So next is favorite theme park or theme park ride. For those of you wondering, yeah, I know she got it right. Too bad. Favorite theme park or theme park ride. What would be your favorite theme park? I'm sorry, say that again?
Disneyland.
Disneyland. Okay. In what state is Disneyland?
California.
Very good. A lot of people get that wrong and say Florida. So I am going to give you a point, which doesn't happen much on this show since I changed the rules. It really doesn't. So congratulations. This is a huge victory for you. You should be very happy because I'm about to do... Oh, let me get this out of the way so everybody can see it. You got a point. Very exciting. Now you have something to tell all your friends and family that you got ahead there. So that's 1 point. I might take it away yet. We don't know. Let's see how you do. Favorite fictional character. This is the fifth of the favorite five. What is your favorite fictional character?
Mickey Mouse?
Mickey Mouse. I'm afraid that is not a fictional character. He actually existed.
Really?
Do you believe me?
No.
It is the name of the pet that Walt Disney had when he was impoverished. And Mickey Mouse was this little mouse that befriended him. He had no money, and he lost a mouse one day. But he remembered him fondly and started drawing him, and that's how you got Mickey Mouse. Prior to Mickey Mouse, it was Mortimer Mouse. Now, he never called him Mickey while he was alive. He had the name Mortimer, which I think the story goes, somebody in the office said that is a horrible name. It doesn't sound friendly at all. Of course, that person should have got a raise. But I think back then he just kept losing people because he didn't pay them. So, but that's a true story. He actually befriended a mouse, and I believe it was in a train ride or something. I remember something like that. So you can check that out. I won 4-1. I'm very happy and excited that I finally won one. I only had to change the rules a little bit, and that made all the difference. So thank you so much for participating in the fantastic favorite five. Okay, enough with the horse shenanigans here. Let's get back to talking pageant, shall we? All right. So, and you're like, oh, thank goodness, that's finally over with.
I got point. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, you should. You should. Here, I'll give you another ring. There. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about where can people find you on the internet. Now, Tennessee International Pageants, and I have the website. I put blue on blue. There we go. TNInternationalPageants.com. Great website. It's fantastic, and people can check you out there, right?
Yes. And on Facebook under Tennessee International Pageants, or on Facebook under facebook.com/fostering life.
Fostering life, fostering love, right?
Yes.
Yes. And
also on Twitter and Instagram.
Okay, and we'll have all of those links for you. And let me just mark down that I got to make sure I get the Twitter and Instagram. I think I have them friended, but I'll double check with you off the air. We'll have all those links with the episode so that you don't have to type, which I know is very difficult when you got one of them little phone doohickeys. Everybody's using this instead of a full-blown computer array like I have here. And people love this so much. I have 3 screens open in front of me. Isn't that exciting? Yeah, there's a lot of electricity being used right now. They literally just started a new mine just to get all the coal to get the electricity into this place. All right. So tell me a little bit about, for the viewers that are watching this show, what do you most want them to know about your year of service?
I really, really just want people to follow me and learn more about foster care and adoption, because even if it's not a calling that's on their heart particularly, there are so many ways you can support foster families and adoptive families that are being shared, have been shared, and will continue being shared. So that's really just what I want people to do. Just follow me and learn and just be part of the conversation.
Fantastic. And, oh, there I go again. I use fantastic again. See, I made fun of girls for a longest time. I used to check website. I'm actually working on this, that I would look at their blog and count how many times the word amazing was used.
You did it to me when I was Mrs. California.
Yes, I think I did. And I can't remember your number. I think the highest I ever got was like 15 or something like that.
Mine was bad, admittedly, and you made me realize that I was doing it. I stopped.
Oh my goodness. I actually changed that. But people have been sending me messages saying, can you say fantastic anymore? And I'm like, I think I probably could. I really think I'm up to it. It's my fallback, and it's because it's 3 syllables, because I can take the time to try to figure out what I'm going to ask next. It's very important. So what type of appearances do you enjoy best?
I enjoy anything with the kids. I have been volunteering with America's Kids Belong for the past year, and they do video shoots of children that are looking for their forever family. And I love those events. I love being able to interact with children and kind of show them what the future could look like, talk to them about, what they want in a forever family. I think by far those have been my favorites.
Well, I have noticed that you really, really spend a lot of time with children, and that is something that is very close to your heart. Has it been your whole life? Is it something that developed over time?
My parents were foster parents when I was in high school.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of started my love of foster care and understanding the system. And as I got older, I've always loved kids. The joke with my husband is if there's a baby within a mile radius, I'm holding it.
Okay.
I'm also the one that they called me actually the weekend before the Tennessee International Pageant, and I took placement of 4 children in foster care in addition to my 2, and my husband was traveling. And I didn't question it. I had chaos in my house, and it was awesome.
That's great. That's great. I actually went to school to be a teacher, and I learned something about myself. I should not be around children. I don't like them. They're constantly wiggling. I was in secondary education, and one day, because if you're going into teaching, folks, The first few years of your teaching, basically you get sick all the time because the kids are very nice about bringing along their diseases and bequeathing them upon you. And the other thing that you get is you get to substitute teach, and you go from classroom to classroom. Well, I was teaching a lot in the high schools where the bad kids are really not that bad. People go, oh, why would you want to be in high school? The bad kids just skip class or fall asleep. You really don't have to deal with them. In middle school, they stay there and they cause trouble all the time. You got to deal with them. In the high school, there's really not much to it. Well, one day they say, hey, the librarian isn't showing up for a primary school. You need to go to a primary school. I'm like, that's a bad idea. I should not be allowed in a primary school. No, come on in. Okay. Have you ever used a high school voice on 6-year-olds?
Oh, no.
Yeah, it happened. I didn't even know I was doing it. I was reading The Cow That Went Oink. A seminal volume. You should probably read it in the 10 seconds that it takes. And I'm reading this to the kids. They're all sitting, Indian style. I don't know if that's politically correct, but in the Indian style on the carpeting. And these kids are wiggling all the time. And I'm just trying to get through the part because the pig is now about to go moo. This is the big climax. And I'm like, stop wiggling! Well, the carpet needed cleaning. It was not a good setup. It was not good. So don't do that. If you're a high school substitute teacher, do not go into a kindergarten class. It's not going to end well for you. I did many years later, now that I'm in corporate America, I took part in the Dr. Seuss Day and did a wonderful reading of Green Eggs and Ham, and really wowed a second grade class and didn't scare a single child. So I thought that was my great vindication for nearly causing a vomit festival the last time I was in a primary school. So that was good. All right. That was a long story, I just realized. Anyway.
All these poor kindergartners looking up at you with eyes about this big when you raise your voice.
Well, I'm a big fella. I can really get that voice out there. I speak a lot, if you haven't noticed. So it really came out there. And well, I'm used to scaring, middle schoolers and high schoolers with that voice. They were not ready for that. So I do apologize to those children that I psychologically scarred for life. So
they probably still remember you too.
No, they don't. No, they don't. 5 seconds later, cookies and milk came out, and they were done. They were like, "Who is this guy?" They never got to know my entire name. I was just Mr. K all the time, because, good Lord, don't let the kids know your entire name, because then they look you up in the phone book and you get calls at 3 a.m. So, not as a sub. You don't give out that whole name to the kiddies. No. In fact, one time I gave out the name of somebody else that I didn't like a whole lot. That was a good time. All right. Well, you've been delightful, and so glad we got to talk and do this long overdue interview. So we're getting to the point where it's time once again to see your best pageant wave. Now, it's a different one. Okay.
Yes, because when I was little kids,
yes.
They don't want the Princess Diary wave. Where am I at here?
Yeah.
They want the cute little hi. So there's my little kid wave.
Yeah, that's called the Muppet Baby. That's what that one's called. It's the Muppet Baby. And I do it like this a little bit, but then I go into jazz hands and it goes all to heck. I can't maintain a Muppet. And then they start talking to each other. Hey, watch out! It's not a good scene. It's not a good scene. So if you have a lot of discipline in the ability that you have, with that. So good on you. Thank you so much. Shana, people can follow you on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, all over the place, and they should cheer you on this August at the International Pageant. Thanks so much for coming on the show, and good night to you, Tierra Dreams.
Thank you so much, Tierra Dreams.
You enjoy the nice awkward silence there for a second while we try to get everything set? It makes for easier editing for me later. So, fantastic. There it is. Fantastic. Yeah. Thanks so much for being on the show. We're going to shut down the live stream. We want to thank everybody that came out to watch. There's been a couple of people, not the chattiest group tonight. They've been afraid to go into the chat room and throw me off. But we do appreciate you coming out to watch. And remember to tell your friends, share it out so that people can check us out later on during the week. Remember to share, and we'd love to have them come on out and see this program. So really appreciate your time tonight, Shana, and all the best of luck and success for you out in Virginia. So, West Virginia. I keep getting it wrong. It's West Virginia. I'm just afraid I'm going to say Carolina. I'm used to Carolinas. I did a lot of pageants in the Carolinas for the international system, in fact.
Yeah.
So, okay. West Virginia. Okay. Thanks so much. And we are closing the live stream, everybody. Good night. Good night, everyone.